If you haven't seen the Falcon, we got 2 videos on the old girl.
We're throwing a good old V8 in her.
If you're asking what V8 we're putting in her, that's from the Foxbody. Watch us V8 swap Falcon, which we've already engine swapped once. This time we're gonna engine swap it negative 26 degrees. Can't open my eye.
I think I might go home now.
We are getting ready to pull this 302 out of the Mustang. This is the GT350 if you're wondering. This is what's left. There's not much left. So we ended up actually parting this car out. The whole goal was really to use this engine trans for the Falcon, but we really didn't exploit on it. Not for a while until now. It's been parted out as far as we're gonna go with it, and now it's time to take the drivetrain out. This is pretty simplistic. Now, I'm not gonna just step you guys through how to pull an engine step by step by step, mostly because I'm gonna light that heater back up because it's negative 20 degrees right now. I'm just gonna give you the bingo bango bongo and then throw you on the old time lapse. I am going to pull the radiator, pull the fan. That is not ours. We've got to give it back to Trendy, who we bought this vehicle from, as well as some of the spark plug wires, but whatever. AC unit is coming off and we're just going to bypass that. It does need a new idler pulley, so we'll have to change that out. And then I'm going to start taking like the Durspark box, solenoid, stuff like that, finding their connections, disconnect those, pull the carburetor, put the carb hat on, jump underneath, take that guy, that motor mount loose, and then disconnect the transmission. Obviously, I'm gonna probably make this really easy on myself, and I'm going to remove the radiator, take a Sawzall, cut there, obviously, because I don't know, I could probably just honestly rip it off because it's so rusty, but cut there, and then we're gonna pull this motor out, set next to our 12 valve, go from there. Pretty simplistic situation on this motor. Now I'll throw you guys on the old laps and see how far I can get. One thing I wanted to show you guys before I kept rolling here. So these carburetors, we haven't decided yet if we want to reuse this guy, which is obviously a Holly, or we have a rebuilt Edelbrock from another one of our project cars over there. Either way, whatever, not a big deal, no one really cares. But, so, I think this actually had a fire at one point. This was basically where the cruise control and everything comes up in. So, I'm guessing the cruise control lit up at one point, and that's the remnants as well as the burn marks under here. So one thing we will do this motor is we're going to delete as much of the smog crap as we can. This car actually ran really well on the drive home, which was very surprising how rusted out and crappy it was, but here's so many vacuum leaks from this. Like obviously that vacuum had a leak, this guy had a leak, this was unplugged. Here's so many vacuum leaks. It's very surprising that this actually ran worth a darn. I will go ahead and basically unsmog this when it's out of the car, slash I'm gonna do as much as I can while it's in the car. Kind of the same reason why I took the front accessory drive off, just because it's a little bit more, it's a little easier when you're bolted down rather than in the air trying to mess with it. I'm gonna go ahead and keep on keeping on. I'm gonna tell you something right now. This right here might be the best starter we've ever had. Everybody's out of here now. No, you know what? Tax those suckers. Oh, dude, we're getting too political. So whenever we take an engine out of something, we like to try something stupid and be like barbarians. One, two. I've kind of figured out, I don't think people like thumbnails with cars in the snow.
out of the house more. Better watch out. All right, you guys are gonna wonder why it's so loud in here. Well, it's negative 26. That's what we got. We got open holes in the ceiling because I decided to do an addition and never filled the holes. But anyway, there's our 302. Our problem with that 302 is a lot. We've got smog we gotta take care of still that we need to get rid of before we bring the car in here. We also have a very big problem, which is a dual sump pan, which is standard on the Foxbodies. To make this fit in the Falcon, we have to do a front sump pan. And that is what we got right here from CJ Pony Parts. No, this is not a plug. This is just where we got it. So this right here, this should be our pickup tube from inline, which it is with the gasket, new tube. So that makes it have to be able to use the front sump. Then we have bubble wrap. The bubble wrap is merely for our entertainment. We have a really nice blue pan. See that? That's blue. That is blue. Okay, moving forward, we have these very nice gaskets. If you touch these, touch it, damn it. These are very malleable, so I don't think we need any goo. But we're still gonna put some goo on where the valleys are at. We also have these nice studs. We can thread these studs in instead of using the standard equipment. These are very nice. They make it so lining up a gasket and everything else is very easy. Alright, there he is. Pretty dark shit, but there's no sludge by any means the word, so that's good. You know what? It's a pretty clean motor. Those pistons look pretty nice. Double roller. Oh, she's tight as an arrow too.
Nice.
That's good. I think this is a good motor. I think, remember, like, if you guys remember the Mustang at all, had really low miles. It just sat for so long in the wrong spot that it just ended its own life, basically. Oh. Did you say heated garage? Because I didn't think so. Yeah, come on, lightning. Soft tackles, they're so nice.
They're so soft.
Let's talk about this car. If you haven't seen the Falcon, we got 2 videos on the old girl. She's from California, so she's got that high class vibe. Otherwise used to. So what we're doing with this vehicle today,
We're throwing a good old V8 in her.
so we can have some power. And if you're asking what V8 we're putting in her, that's from the Foxbody, which is over there. So, boys, girls, and artichokes, watch us V8 swap the Falcon, which we've already engine swapped once. This time we're going to engine swap it negative 26 degrees. Can't open my eye anymore. is a 170 inline 6. Obviously from the factory they're underpowered, but reliable. Second version. Reliable. We're gonna put a 302 in here, which was not really ever done unless it was a sprint version, which would have been a 260 back then. So we're gonna put a small block in it. Now we purchased parts to basically convert this situation into a V8. They're in the car, they're accumulated a couple months ago. I can't remember what I bought, so we'll step you guys through that when the parts start flowing. But as of right now, this 170's got to get kicked to the curb. We're not going to sell it. We're going to keep it for another project because it helped us once. It's going to help us again. Do that. If you're on this channel, I hope you know how to pull a motor. It's not hard. You watched me do it once in this video already. You're going to watch us do it again. So 170 is going to come out, and then that 302 is probably going to go in and out multiple times. Basically, long way to go. We got a long way to get there.
The other day, I saw an ad for a 2022 Ford Mustang 5.0,
Yeah.
and it had I-8 next to it.
8 in a row, ready to tow.
Engine's
Oh, you
in
know what?
there.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it again. Oh. Oh, this muffler is loose, and I don't know why. Always put your jack on the most fragile part of the vehicle, because that means it won't fall.
This is the second time we've seen it like this. It's such a sad moment.
No, because this time it'll have something pretty fun in it. And we aren't in Missouri.
Oh, that's true. It's already better than. All right, guys. So the engine is out, obviously, and the cross member's out, as well as the old mounts. New mounts compared to the old ones, you can kind of tell what's going on here. They're made by, I don't know, something conversions. So they sit right there. This side, easy peasy. This side, since the 302's mounting situation's a little different, on the block, it sits back farther. So if you look down here at the cross member, it sits 1.5 miles back, which hits our Falcon's little cross member. And as much reading as I've been doing about V6 cars versus V8 cars, supposedly these are lighter weight. Now, do I believe that? I don't know. If you guys are Falcon experts, comment down below and tell me I'm wrong. But you know what? It's going to be too late. The V8's already going to be in here running. What we're going to do is I am going to go ahead and modify this cross member, make it so we can basically bolt it back up where it sits. Might be weakened a little bit with the cutout, but I think we'll end up squaring it off when we can get this thing on a lift and then put it up in the air and bingo, bingo, bongo. Alex is taking the shorty headers off right now because they will not fit. After doing measuring between these shock members is 27, or sorry, we need 27.5, we've got 24. That's a massive difference. Once we get these bolted back into place, we're gonna put this back, we're gonna put this in and mock it up for the night. Alex just getting over pretty serious cold, and same, I'm getting over a little bit of minor of a cold. So I think we're gonna be done a little bit early today, and then we'll continually hit this throughout the week. This black hole should have a V8 in it pretty quick. We are in the heart of the beast, otherwise known as the Falcon. Much more roomy in here without a seat, which is phenomenal. We're in here for one thing and one thing only. And that's to make this thing badass. Can't see up in there, but we have to, / I have to, undo a tremendous amount down here and get it so our modern drivetrain solutions kit will function up in here. From what I know is, I know you guys can't see where nothing down up in there, sorry. So up in here, the armature, there's a big bolt that goes through there. Basically it gets pulled out and one longer one goes in, and that's what you add your pedal. Now this car was kind of weird where the brake pedal's bent. Usually you end up cutting the side of that off and you just have to get a different pad. NBD there, not a big deal at all. That is gonna be easy, but we'll run through that together. I wanted to show you guys, I know a lot of our cars we don't really get to show how actually clean they are / rusty / whatever. This car is in phenomenal shape. There is the only little bit of surface rust that has came through this, well, this, I don't know. I'd almost say it's an undercoating looking stuff. Usually it's chipping off extremely bad, but this is in fantastic shape. Even the rubbers are still shiny gray rather than rusty and nasty. Just want to show you guys in the old Falcon. She is as clean as we all thought. This is our kit from Modern Driveline Solutions. And pretty simplistic. Nicest part about this kit is they give you a quadrant cable, which is absolutely fantastic. I converted a 67 Comet a couple years back to a 5-speed, and I was a cheap ass, excuse my French, and I did not buy the cable kit. So this one, we definitely wanted to go the right direction and buy the cable kit as well as the pedal. Basically, I will brush up with the instructions. I'm sure it's the same as the Comet, but obviously this plate is a little different. We'll brush up on that situation, and then my goal is to get this fully installed. After we get this installed, then I'm not very comfortable in this small of a car getting that engine by myself. Done plenty of engine installs by myself, but I got to basically stand on there while we go in. But I might send her anyway. But what I'm saying is we need to get the whole cut for the T5 around here somewhere. I'll take some momentary measurements and make a preliminary hole, but it still takes a couple times to get it right. So we got plenty of light in here now. If you guys haven't checked out the wall under hood light, I know this isn't a plug, we're not sponsored, but it's a game changer for a lot of situations, especially when you're working in a shop that can't really have lights in the car. It spans the whole inside of the vehicle and has actually strong enough springs to be able to see. Again, sorry for the weird plug, but it's a good product. We're gonna hop under here. Let's see if I can sprawl out. So out here, we got this big old white. This seems to say that if there is a bracing bar, it needs to be taken out. That is what I'm doing right now. It is spot welded in 2 different spots, and I can't get spot welds without doing a bunch of shit. I know, I said it. I'm gonna do the dumbest thing I can possibly do and leave it and bang it back into place after I just pried on it for about 10 minutes. I'm gonna bend it back into place, and I think it'll work great. If this was an Iowa car, we'd have no problem at all. So much rust. It lost. So now we're gonna get serious and put the plate in. I hate to say it, but the way the brakes are faded on this sucker now, I think we're gonna have to replace the master cylinder. So this would be a perfect time to do such a thing, but I'm not gonna do it. This hypothetically just slips right, and you know what? It did. Yes. Okay. So, and then basically it just says put the bolts back where you found them and don't lose them. Let me fill you in on something. Back you up here. When I did that 67 Comet, I know that's, no one cares because this is a Falcon.
But when I did the 67 Comet, I was young and stupid. I did a 5-speed conversion on it. And I could not figure out the pivot of the clutch with the quadrant I had, quadrant cable. So I ended up ordering a pillow bearing. If you know what a pillow bearing is, so be it. If you don't, look it up. So it's a bearing basically in the center of a kind of a mount. And I made my own axle shaft kind of thing that went through that. And then I made my own clutch pedal out of square stock. I ended up wasting a week on that just because I didn't want to pay the extra whatever for this plate and system that they sell. So long story short is what I'm trying to say is sometimes spending the extra money does help you out and make you less depressed. Come here, look at this master cylinder, y'all. Look, it's all goo. That's the OG master cylinder, boys and girls. Well, we should clean that out. All right, we're back in the belly of the beast. Firewall is ready for acceptance of a clutch pedal. Sure wish I owned a vacuum. Oh wait, I do. 100% definitely need to take this spring-loaded mother trucker out and replace it with a bolt. It's a penny. 1964. Wonder if that's worth as much as the car. Oh, tell me this is gonna go easier than I thought. All right, now we've got a loaded gun up there. You guys might wonder, why are we back out of here? Well, that's because I don't know how to read or follow directions, or basically all the reasons why I'm self-employed. We're gonna put this water cable together. We're gonna put it on the plate like it so desires, and then we'll be back in action. I did, however, go in the car and put the pivot bolt back in, so that way we didn't have an explosion transpire. Okay, I guess the O-ring is the only thing that holds it against the plate. Crazy, I know. They make it a really hard time to get to not spill on the cable once you have a master cylinder there. I would really like to convert this into a dual master cylinder. Is that going to happen? Just another disappointment, I tell you. Going in for seconds. Oh. Ah. Attack mode. I'm stuck. Back at it. I'm just going to take this completely off. This is balls. This is balls. 100% that little bracket definitely has to be removed, or else here's no way in heck that you're going to be able to make that happen. 100% misled. Oh, nice. The whole time you need to have a bolt in there before that. Nice. Nice. Nice.
Good news. Our crossmember came for the old Falcon. Getting ready to test fit it. I'm gonna have to take the motor mounts back out for the third time. That is comparatively to that. Basically, from what I'm reading, is it's just so thin, we need that crossmember. So we're gonna put that crossmember in. We gotta go get nuts from the company. So Falcon franchise, or whatever the heck, they don't supply you with any hardware. They just send you the studs basically in the mounts, and that's all you get. You don't get the nuts. Gonna have to go get the nuts for these. And these are a 3-part system. They have the adapter that bolts onto the frame, the intermediate mount, and then the pads. So that's what we were confused about the other day, but not really to be confused, just autism. Anyway, yes.
So my consensus is now that you pay as much money as possible for crash. Gosh, cussing. So all these are in. and this is all drilled a little bit to the, well, technically maybe to the right. So another manufacturing, just like the pedal, that's a joke. Okay, after a slight outburst and some unibidding, we're good to go. We just had to upsize both sides a little bit, so we had a little bit of give and take. So tighten this up, and as much as I love to say it, I think we are ready to get this situated into this itty bitty car. And when we do that, we can kind of figure out what headers we need, because online says tri-Ys fit really well, and they also say a bunch of other different things that sound like gibberish. I'd like to do long tube tri-Ys just because I like the sound of long tubes better and, you know, gains, but it's what it is. And we have the short tubes from the Foxbody, and if we can use those, I am going to use them. Seems as though I know where the hole's at for shifter, so go ahead and cut that real quick. I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna give you guys a technique. You need to do a little bit more leaning, so that way you can get the tail shaft down farther, and you don't have one of those fancy deals that do the thing, the pivoting and stuff. What I like to do is grab a ratchet strap, specifically a Husky brand, so that way it breaks. I'm gonna hook this to the balancer pulley and then around the hoist. That is what's going to happen. And I'm going to make it so it pulls up. It gives me a little bit more action downward. Yes, it's sketchy. I understand that. But if what you're doing on your vehicle is not sketchy, you need to reassess your hobby. And pretzels. Over down. Well, we got a big old transmission fluid mess down yonder. Still going in. Going in for the kill. Alright, now we need to release this disaster. Now it's going to stay where it wants to go. It's hooked right where you need to be hooked. That's what we like to see. No, you be a good boy. Don't you fight me like that. Now, we're going to start hitting some stuff. You know what's funny? Is it's hitting this smog equipment. That will definitely have to come off. Don't let me forget that these are vacuum chambers. And you know what? It might fit. Looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and pull that balancer pulley off. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Put it back on later. So I think we're going to reposition this, so we're going to hold up the motor in the back here. So I'm going to let her down real slow like. Where she wants to sat. So my option here is I cut out some of the transmission tunnel. Yeah, basically that's it. I just have to basically cut it open, and I desperately do not want to do that. I, with a little forceful action, decided to be nice. Which was just me kind of throwing my body weight at the lift, pushing in. This 302 is having some issues coming all the way back. I originally thought it was the transmission tunnel, but ended up looking down at the passenger side mount, and our little stud, can't see down there very well, but we have a stud down there that is hitting on the other side. Easier to show you, that side's a little tighter. What I'm gonna have to do, I think I'm gonna drop these pads off and everything, and let me get a light. You can see down there, I'm gonna drop the little pad off, that guy, on both sides, and then I'm just gonna refasten them from down below. Probably been a better idea to do that anyway, but you live and learn. Grab a 5/8, drop those down. I'm gonna put them on the stud through the actual mount, and then we'll adjust the engine so we can get down underneath and shoot the pads back to the motor when we're in the correct spot. One thing I think we're also hitting is these smog lines. I think I'm gonna pull those off. That way we're not gonna be hitting the firewall. The bad thing is, as soon as you pull those off, you have a giant hole in the back of the heads that you have to fill. We might have to run to the hardware store and find something to cap those. I know it's usually a big-headed bolt. Everybody usually does. Okay, after a pretty hefty fight, we've got the little nubs in. Those are 5/8 by 11 coarse thread bolts. A lot of people said that, you know, Ford sells a plug for those, but you know what, whatever. That's the cheapest, easiest way to fix. So both sides are done now. Took a while just because they're so full of carbon, and we didn't run any precautions when we were doing this. I kind of knew we got to pull a tube before we put it in the car, but you know what, it is what it is now. Alex joined us from being sick for 2 weeks. Now we're gonna try to shove it back. I have these mounts uncoupled from the engine now. Kind of see it down in there, the pad. So now when you try to get this engine back pretty far and get it bolted back up, issue we're having is, if you look down in there, the 5-speed has some pretty big ribs on it, and it's hitting the firewall. We're going to be millimeters to spare, otherwise known as English measuring system, not bald eagles per foot. So on this V8, we've decided to use our 1970 accessory drive. That is our plan now. So we're going to pull the rest of this shebang off, as well as we're going to change the water pump out, just due to the fact that this is for a serpentine system, which is reverse drive, and we need a clockwise drive for the V-belt system that is being put on here from the Mustang. Serpentine system is going to get taken off and thrown in the garbage, mostly because we just don't want to deal with it. Not a big deal. It's going to change our charging plans, but we do have the one-wire alternator off of the Falcon engine right here, and I was talking to Alex. I think we're going to try to make this function with our Ford system or /302 system. We'll have to see how it works out. Could be kind of a pain in the butt. You also never know. Could be easy.
How much can we jack it up?
Have you secured your bags?
No. Hey, would you like a shop?
Hey, have you thought about maybe buying one of our t-shirts to support our activities?
It's not like PayPal pays us anyway.
Oh yeah.
They just steal the money.
You know what? Just watch the videos and we'll talk about shirts later. When PayPal quits being turd burglars.
The trans all mounted up. Sean's doing the motor mounts right now.
Everybody wants to know, what does it look like after a V8? I'll show you. Not different. Actually, it might be a little lower. Yeah, it's dramatically lower, which is good. There we go. If this was an of-era 289, I think this would be super easy swap. Just due to the fact you don't have to worry about your rotating assembly, accessory drive, you don't have to worry about the smog. You can just hook right up to the voltage regulator from the past. You can just throw your alternator on. That's a little bit more simple. Just all that stuff. But since we decided to do a late model, it's gonna fight us a little bit. The good part is we got a hunk of junk out back. That was a big old waste of money that we can go steal parts off of if we really want to. Otherwise known as a 72, some kind of Mustang.
Whatever stolen Mustang it is.
Mustang we somehow have.
I have $3,500 worth of tools you can have.
I got a sick moped.
I got a sick moped.
Yeah. Sits nice. Was it a pain?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is, the surface area is actually greater on what we have than the old one. So we're fine. Did you print this?
Yeah.
Gosh, dude, are you the manager?
No.
No, if you were really good, we'd be able to convert it from a V8 yoke to a 6-cylinder drive shaft.
Yeah, I can do that.
No, you can't. I'd be mind blown.
He's edging you right now.
The drive shaft from the V8 is actually from a Foxbody Mustang. So you'd have to look up a 1984 drive shaft.
Okay. Watching football.
Football? Football.
I think I might go home now.
Here's what we're gonna do. Because drive shafts here in central Iowa take somewhere between a lifetime and 2 centuries to get drive lines done. For now, we are going to modify this 5.0 drive shaft, cut the back end of it off. And we are going to, sorry, I'm looking around anxiously about something. I'm trying to find the other drive shaft. I just have it behind you. Would you just next time tell me it's behind you? Here's what we're gonna do. Inevitably, it's gonna be too short. We are going to cut the back side of this off. And for now, I'm gonna burn this guy onto this guy at the proper length. You might ask yourself, well, why are you doing that? Well, it's a couple of reasons. Is because this Falcon rear end, we don't think it's gonna take the power for too terribly long. Look at the size of the U-joint. It's a cute little Toys R Us kid, little Tykes kind of U-joint. So we don't think this is going to be able to take the power, which it won't for very long. Other reason is the rear end, we could find a Maverick one, we could switch it out, or a Ranger one. We don't have the time schedule for that, so we're gonna try to rip this thing with this itty bitty guy, shortened to unbalanced, all that kind of stuff. That being said, for now, I'm gonna cut the back end of this off, and I'm also gonna cut the back end of the Falcon one off. And we're gonna play a game, see how straight and how balanced I can get this, and that'll be that. I made this this blue tape line so I can follow it all the way around. Basically, as long as you line up the seams, hypothetically it should be straight. If you get a piece of paper and tape it to it, that's even straighter than tape. I'm gonna cut this off, cut that off, straighten them both out, mark the lengths, stuff this one inside of this one, burn it around, and then we can most likely take this for a drive after we get headers figured out. The workings of a drive shaft. It's basically got a pretty, I'm not gonna say a thick layer of metal on the inside or outside or whatever, but it's a lot thinner than you'd think, which has always been a surprising fact to me. Now my goal here, cut this guy. He's gonna cut it in half so that way I have plenty to work with. And then I'll probably just try to slide it in the hole, which would be perfect, but I don't know if it'll work out that nicely. This one, I don't really care how straight it is, because the second cut will have to be straight though. Nope, fits perfectly actually. So that's actually pretty lucky. I'm gonna fathom to guess it's gonna be right around that area. Who knows? Maybe this will last forever. What I'll end up doing is making this so I'll put the slip yoke inside of the transmission, and then I'll make it so I can put this back into the yoke of the rear diff, then I'll burn it in after I mark it.
Okay, after being under there, here's what we got. So we got quite a bit of tube inside there. Trying to decide if I want to chop some more off or not. I think I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe. Undecisive. I think I'll leave a little bit. I'll probably cut out that first line, leave an inch in there. Then I'm gonna have to wheel my welder back here and we'll start going to town on it. So we'll have to figure out how we can shim it so it's all the same reveal all the way around. Once we get all the same reveal, I think we'll be really good shape. There she is, cutie. We somehow have to keep it square. Okay, after a little bit of a fight with the welder, winter, I tell you. I think we're good. I'll show you guys the system of the redneckery that I'm doing. Got a 2-foot level here. Basically, all I'm doing is measuring at the front of the cut, the back of the cut, and it's been running around that 5/16 area, so I just need to make sure that we're riding about 5/16 all the way around the tip here. It's pretty solid at the point with all these, a couple of these welds. What? Oh my gosh. You might wonder why I didn't break it. Well, that's because these are 75 bucks a piece. Don't ask me how I know. So 5/16 all the way around. Basically just take a straight edge and make sure you're the same. The whole distance around it. Makes it easier if the level is magnetic. If you got a magnetic level, you're gonna have decently easy time at it. Beauty in the breast. Okay, here's the final product here. I know it's not TIG welded, but that's gonna do it. It's gonna work just fine. Shove this back in the car, and this will be ready for our first drive. You need to take a cap off the front U joint so I can replace one of the caps that I ruined on the back. Then we're gonna be really good shape here. Oh, that thing just got shish kebab.
Obliterated?
We're under the Falcon right now. We had an issue pulling the drive shaft off. Originally, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that is the original U-bolt. They're one size smaller, so this is a 5/16. So I think they're a 1/4 inch drive. So I ended up having to drill the yoke out for these bigger ones, just because you cannot get those, get the 1/4 inch ones. They're special order, so didn't really want to go online and wait a lifetime. So I just went ahead and did that. Again, this rear end, it's gonna be short-lived, I think. So we're just treating it as though it is, and this isn't the final option. I'm gonna get this bolted up. After this, I'm gonna drop the case off the back, and I potentially will turn this thing into a posi track 6 3/4. All right. She's oozing. That fluid actually looks really nice. So we've got quite the issue here. That issue is late model engines have a different harmonic balancer on them than the earlier model engines because the weight of the rear flex plate, flywheel, whatever, it's different. So also that's an automatic engine, blah blah blah. Harmonic balancers are different. So we're gonna do something stupid. The serpentine off the late model. So that's the serpentine off the late model. It has 4 holes. Our old engine has 3 holes. So late model 1970. 1970 here, it has 3 holes, as you see. Both the same, they're both 5/16 holes. Now, what sets them apart is this has an alignment flange on the actual pulley system.
that has the alignment flange on the harmonic balancer. So we're going to do the wrong thing, and we are going to take the harmonic balancer alignment flange off, and we're going to take the harmonic balancer flange off of the late or the 1970 model. So these will now coexist and bolt right back up. Now here's the kicker: we don't know how far off the motor Alex might. How far off this sits on the 70 motor compared to the other motor. So when we're bolting all this back up, we could be really screwed. And our alternator might not line up.
You space it out with a couple washers.
Yeah, that's easy for the alternator, but for the water pump pulley, it's really hard.
That's true.
So we're gonna pray that just taking these flanges off doesn't do anything. A really easy way to do this is if we wanted to. Once that lip's ground off, we can take a square and square up and measure off of some point on the motor that it's the same on both. Which would be really easy, would be the water pump face / timing cover, but we're not taking that water pump off that engine today. So, well, are we?
I didn't.
We might need the bolts out of it. So if we end up needing the bolts out of it, then we'll be taking it off. And at that point, then we can measure. But it's easier basically to just put everything together and be saddled. So.
Hey, your ear's broken. Your ear. Yeah, so somebody died right there. You can see the stains. The Falcon is actually a murder mystery. Went to my local bankrupt Joann's and got some project foam and some nice outdoors fabric gray. I think I got like 6 yards. So hopefully that does enough. I'm not a upholstery guy at all. I'm a keyboard fiddler. I make videos for a living. Of course, we're going to take all this out, see if we can reuse this foam, because I mean the foam under it looks pretty good. You know, everything around it, that's kind of crap. But this is definitely going to need to be new. My main concern is wrapping it. I think I'm just going to go over and tuck everything under. Now, there's not going to be these nice lines or stitching or anything, but hopefully it looks good. I got some hog rings coming and baling wire and self-tappers. I think that'll do us. But for these, this is a little bit different. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is wrap it so that everything kind of either tucks or folds over on this inside here so you don't really see it, or try and make it so that it tucks under here and fold it under there. I don't know. It'll be an endeavor. This is the only, I mean, this is the second bench we've wrapped. We'll see how it goes. There we go. Got some anger out of the way too while we're at it. I think I might just reuse this bottom foam. It doesn't look too bad. We are gonna have to use that project foam for the backing. Heck, we're gonna do just fine other than trying to figure out how to wrap this thing. What do you think, boy? You warm? Breathing in all the dust? Look at all that. Disgusting. It's still just full of it. But we can reuse this. Get some hog ties in this thing, some baling wire, some self-tappers. Probably self-tap along this metal frame at the bottom to hold the other fabric. I think it should do pretty good. I did get plenty of fabric, though. I actually got like just enough, plus just maybe a half a yard more. I did good there, telling the girl to give me 1 yard extra. So we're safe. This was expensive fabric. Sadly, I didn't think it was going to be this much. Fabric in the foam was 160 bucks. We were going to need to do the foam for sure for this. So we couldn't just buy one of those, you know, throw it over things. I know they make them for the bench seats and they look pretty good, but we were going to need to replace this foam anyway. So I think those are around like 200 bucks, maybe 150 or around that, which isn't bad. We're on the last steps. So this is how the back has turned out. There's the front of it. I don't think it looks too bad for a guy that doesn't do upholstery. We just got the creases here and here, and then just one along the back. And all I've done with this whole thing is self-tappers. Really not that intense. You can see the self-tappers along the bottom and the sides to hold everything in place. This side just needs folded and self-tap along the bottom and the sides once more. And then she's ready.
Well, got some sweet news for the old Falcon. Here are the headers that we received for it. This is an eBay set, if I'm being blunt and honest with you guys. So we're gonna pray that they work. It does look fairly close. This will have to be thrown in from the bottom, obviously. If we're gonna have a good chance at it, I think this is our best chance at it. This one's gonna be, it's gonna be hard to get threaded in, but I think we'll have the best chance with that guy. Then the passenger side is just as close until the last two cylinders. If you look over here, the last two cylinders, I think we'll be in pretty good shape as well there. Worst case scenario, we just gotta take a hammer and beat her a little bit. I don't think we'll need to. Only thing I'm wondering is if we're gonna have to remove any of the spark plugs we did on the Javelin, but maybe we won't have to on this guy. Other issue, starter and wiring. We'll see what I want to fight tonight. If these function well, I think we should probably put, I don't know, I need to put something on a form somewhere and let people know these work for 62 Falcon, because there's not a lot, there's some information out there for what headers like tri-Ys and stuff, and 64.5 headers and stuff like that for Mustangs, but I don't know, there's also back and forth information out there as well. This was the side we were worried about, and this side functions nicely. I have not got it bolted to the block yet, but it's looking like no matter what way I take it, it's going to work really well. I did have to release the quadrant cable for now to get it in there, as well as I had to take the flange off the bottom side of the header, which is, you know, I kind of figured I'd have to do that anyway, but I was just hoping I could have kept them on there. eBay headers so far, not bad. Although they do give you these style gaskets, that don't have the little notch on the back holes, so you can just slip them in. But I won't complain as long as, well, I'll fight it for a couple hours, but I'm not going to complain because these are actually going to function. I haven't been pleasantly surprised in a very long time from eBay. And here we are. These eBay headers have been the best fitting headers I've seen yet. However, I did have one issue. You can see right there. It was touching right there, but I just ran my mini sledge and a chisel right through there, and now they don't, it looks like it touches, but it doesn't any longer. The fitment for these are fantastic. Definitely gonna go on the eBay store and let everybody know that these work great. I know we have this side to do, but not worried about this side. eBay for the win. MDL, kind of an L. We are on to the boring part of the build where we just kind of throw things on and rip it. So basically the next hard portion will be setting the carburetor on and getting a throttle pedal set up. Luckily we got a universal kit sitting over there that will work great for it. Then got some wiring to do, get this thing hooked up, and then get it set up for the actual Falcon itself. Then last thing of action is getting these headers plumbed into an exhaust system, we got some Flowmasters, baby. Well, knockoff Flowmasters, but these should sound fantastic. Everybody loves the sound of pushrod 5.0 Foxbodies with Flowmaster Super 40s, and that's what we're going for. I am more excited to hear the exhaust from this than I am basically any of it else. I don't know if I want to bore you guys. Maybe I'll leave it on the comment sections next time if you want to watch me do the harder stuff, or not harder stuff, the repetitive stuff that is pretty explanatory. All right, I'm not going to get too close to it. I'm not going to get too close, specifically right there. But this is our Chevy one-wire alternator on our Ford with our 1967 water pump on the 1984 engine with the balancer from the 67 as well, drilled to accept the crank pulley. Yes, this was a feat, and I am proud of it, so that's why I'm showing you guys such a small win. Sometimes it's about the small wins. The thing is this isn't turning at 7,000 RPM, so we don't know if this is going to turn into Swiss cheese or what's going to happen, especially since we drilled the crank pulley ourselves and not with the drill press with a forearm. This is, I'm going to say this is accomplished for now. I'm going to move on to getting the wiring kind of figured out, as well as, since we did go with this alternator, now we need to figure out where we're going to mount a battery. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is a little redneck, but this is what we got. This is our downpipe, 2 1/4, coming off the header at an odd angle because of the quadrant cable. And then this other one is already made up as well, sitting down here on the ground. Same kind of thing, coming down to its 45-degree angle and then going where it needs to go. From here, you might ask, what are we doing? So I'm going to bolt this back up to the header. I didn't tell you the process, obviously, to begin with, but pretty easy to simplify and figure out. Bolt your collector up to your header and then mock it up where you kind of need it to point. Most of the time, your long tubes are going to point straight out, but these shorties decide to point every which way but the right way. Get them bolted up and stationary, and then put these kind of where they need to be, tack it into place, 2 spots, and then bring it on off the car, and bingo, bango, bongo. From here, we're going to come down, and it's going to lead to our H-pipe, and then after the H-pipe, it is going to lead to Flowmaster Super 40s. I think for this kit, we're going to have to dump it in front of the rear axle. Really didn't want to, I know, but sadly our Amazon pipe kit doesn't come with enough straight pieces. If it does, they'll go out the back, but as of right now, it's not looking promising.
It's been a couple weeks since you've seen any progress on the old Falcon, but here we are. Got the H-pipe, got the downpipes. Downpipes leading to the clamps, so that way we can remove half the exhaust at a time. Then we have our Flowmaster Super 40s sitting right there. We are just gonna do a dump in front of the rear axle for the time being, just because that's what it's gonna be like. We go up over the axle, but our time frame is not allowing that. As of right now, exhaust is gonna be sitting and chilling. Got a couple little knickknacks to finalize down below here, like adjusting the clutch, as well as finish filling up the diff. But that is it for underneath the car. We have 0 leaks, and it's been up on jack stands for way too long. Right now, as of this moment, putting in the universal throttle pedal. I would have used the other one, but V8 has it too close to the firewall and it wouldn't have been able to pivot. Right now I'm getting ready to build a bracket out of some 1-inch flat stock, and then I'm gonna bring it up and then basically just do some kind of a blah, you know, that's what's gonna happen. We'll cut this universal guy down and we'll have our throttle. After that, we are narrowing down the nitty-gritty into just a couple wiring phases and little tiny stuff. Well, do you want to tell the people where we have been?
We both been sick.
We both had pneumonia. I have pneumonia right now. 4 days on antibiotics.
I had pneumonia for 2 weeks, and then I went to the hospital after 2 weeks of dying.
Basically
and,
3 weeks.
Yeah,
Alex was out of commission for 3 weeks. I've been gone for a week, and we've been also tooling around on some other projects and working on some things, and we're finally gonna hear this thing sing, hopefully for the first time. I didn't show you guys, but I have this all custom wired up. Oop, fell off already. That's a good sign. The Motorcraft box is wired into the Ranchero Falcon. Have this ballast resistor ready to go. And then we have everything basically wired up for our DuraSpark system. Also made a custom battery mount. Right now, we have the wrapped headers. We have oil in the motor. We have, basically the headers are long tubes right now because I built down pipes and yes. So it's gonna be loud, but our goal right now is just to see if it'll pop off. If it pops off and idles for not even a second without the key on, we're gonna call it a win. We're gonna give up for the day. Then all we got left is throttle, bench seat, and fan.
Hopefully no leaks. Address those if they are.
Yep, yeah, especially the water pump. This is still an unknown beast. And then we also don't know if this alternator is gonna stay together. There's a lot of unknowns in this right now just because of what we had to do. But that's what we do. We did go ahead, since we were having problems with this ignition in this car really before, we still have the key to start it, which we need to put up into the dash still. We have the key to start it, so I have to crank the starter motor over and work the solenoid, and we have a switch that we need to drill a hole in the dash for the coil and ignition. Your switch is for the coil, so I'll turn the ignition on, and then you'll use the starter key still.
Nothing. You have lights in here.
Give me a second.
At least.
We just need to figure out why that key's not working now. Isn't the switch off, or is it on?
Yeah, it's off.
Did it fired up?
Yeah. It works either way.
That's not good. So right now it's always hot for some reason. It runs though.
Sounds good.
Oh, I might know what it is. I don't know what that was about. Something's grounding out. I guess I just had a bunch of random negatives just jumping around here. Massive spark that keeps happening. The charging wire was up against that bit. All right, turn the switch on.
Yeah. Switch is on. Does the key need to be on at all?
What?
Does the key need to be on at all?
No.
£25.
Only 25? We ain't drawing any fuel either. 25 pounds is terrible.
Is there a leak at all?
Of oil?
Yeah.
Not how that's, oh,
From the pressure?
on your line?
Yeah.
I don't think so, as long as it's tight to the back of your thing. All right,
Oh.
it's leaking.
Yeah.
Classic. If you're wondering, is the switch on or off?
It's on.
Oh, turn it off now. Okay, so wait a minute. That alternator's jumping around like a fucking dead yin yang. Okay, so it was back feeding through the alternator. So now turn the switch on.
All right, sweet. It's working.
Okay, yeah, so it was just back feeding, which means this was connected to the wrong spot. So this one actually needs to go to, well, that's correct though. We were having issues with that one when it was on the Falcon too. Okay, let's see what it gets for oil pressure one last time.
Maybe 35.
Wow, this should be up into the 50s. That's that for the day, I guess. At least the ignition system is functioning. That gas is not a happy camper. It won't even ignite. That's how bad the gas is in the tank. Wow, that's crazy how bad that fuel is.
Cause what? It was like a year.
Not even a year. What was it at?
50?
Oh, got to 50?
Yeah.
We're good then. It should be leaking oil out that little tube that's missing the dipstick.
I don't see anything either.
Wow, nice.
So
We also have a bunch of like a bunch of vacuum leaks. So I'm guessing once we plug those, I think they will work really nice. It's been a fight, but the Falcon is almost done, slash basically done, other than a couple little details. I'm gonna step you through real quick what we did, because this has just been on off, and on off. Kind of show you guys how the steps were and everything like that. Okay, 302 in the place of an inline 6. Why was this swap a little bit hard? Well, it's because it's so crammed, and it's kind of hard to get the exact knowledge on headers, and as well as cross member and what other little stuff you need, especially for Foxbody era 302 into this. The full front assembly drive or accessory drive is from a 302. Radiator, still the inline 6, big enough, blah blah blah. Not big enough though, or sorry, not big enough room wise for a mechanical fan, so electrical fan off of Amazon. Went ahead with using the DuraSpark, and it all functions really nicely. So more than happy with that. Used junky Edelbrock from the shelf, had a custom make, a little holder for the battery, no big deal there. The modern driveline plate slash clutch assembly and all that, kind of a pain in the butt. Amazon throttle pedal slash linkage, and I just kind of, you know, finagled it together for what we need. Underneath, we have our manual, and then we have our H-pipe. We have our mounted, you can't see them, but Flowmaster Super 40s for the Foxbody tone that we so desire. We don't know what's gonna happen because we still have a little tiny rear end, 6 3/4. So we are going to pray that it holds up just enough times for us to do burnout. Now, you might think all that was easy, but you know, it kind of wasn't. Clutch, everything has been figured out. It is ready to go, and it is ready to go on its maiden voyage. Gosh, it's so dark. Ended up using a license plate for our DuraSpark. This is the on-off. This is the fan. Got our gauge cluster. Have our universal throttle pedal, and then our PM gauge for our manual, due to the fact we won't have a working dash any longer. The California Falcon that was most likely stolen has now been 302 swapped with a GT350 302. In the most crammed spot possible, we are about done with this project. Get her on the ground, and then I'm gonna grab some extra carpet I have, vacuum it out, lay the carpet, and then throw in the new and approved seat. We are going to try to drive this while it is -5 degrees outside for its preliminary test drive. Well, last time, before we cover this floor up, just want to show you guys how good it is one last time. She is probably the cleanest car we'll ever deal with, and I think that's a blessing for the next owner. And I'm excited to either, I guess, see if we keep it, or excited to see if someone, you know, restores her pretty nicely. Falcon, she's a clean car. Alrighty, folks, I did have to turn the shifter arm backwards per se, just because it was hitting the seat while shifting. Here is the reupholstered seat. Looks pretty great with the little black carpet back there, or in front there. We still have the other seat to redo, but for now, it looks pretty clean down yonder. You know what? I'm gonna give this a pretty successful build as of right now. I know we haven't made it on a test drive, but whenever you get something done in the frigid cold in this state, I think it's a W. Pretty happy with getting something done over the winter. Always wanted to do a good manual swap, and right now it seems to function pretty nicely, and I didn't have to reinvent the wheel figuring out the clutch. This is a big win. I'm very excited to take it for a drive, see how its street manners are. I'm sure it'll be a good little ripper, and it's probably gonna make me want to keep it. I wish it was a Futura. Can't win them all. As of right now, this is what we got, and this is what God gave us. So did the most on the budget we had. Something for younger guys out there, I always took for granted is head or hood bolts. Most of them are all fine thread. Don't lose them. Keep track of your hood bolts. She is in the light. Oh wow, it just sits so much better with the V8 in it. You ready to get stuck?
It'd be nice if there's still a parking lot. I wonder if the Futures one is still covered. Should we go check it out?
Manual steering is gonna make this crazy.
What
Dude,
what if the diff just went right there?
I think it probably will. Honestly, it's great. You like my
Yeah, that's great.
holder?
Yeah. Damn it, they did a good job.
They did a good job.
Better than the freaking streets, dude. What the hell?
Wow.
Dude.
That was 5th gear. We might have to keep this until summer to actually see what it's worth. That was pretty good. I've been in something fast in a while. Oh, shucks.
Damn, they even did the bad parking lot, too.
It smells like something electrical is on fire. I think it's the chrome headers.
The wrap is gonna have to, it's gonna make some smells. And
So this is where we usually like to be, otherwise known as a parking lot. Next time we'll be building this in a parking lot because I have so many injuries on my back from getting stabbed by all the construction materials I have. This is our V8 Falcon. It's taken a while. It's taken influenza A times 2 and pneumonia to build it. But here we are. This is it. It doesn't look any different. I know, but it's different. It's got a bigger soul, a bigger booty. Wish it had a bigger booty. Okay.
it might someday.
She has not been deadlifting. We 302 swapped this old girl after it came out of the depths of St. Louis. It had an inline 6 and now it's got V8. The V8 is substantially better. We've already seen it in 5th gear and I'm pretty excited to try this out when it gets warmer and actually feel the old girl out. And maybe we'll even take it to the drag track. I don't know. Now I'm kind of liking it because it's actually not slow. You're gonna see this Falcon probably again before we let it go. In the end, all that matters is we built something, it's sitting in front of us and it's here to enjoy. I don't have a lot of advice this time because it's been a long, cold winter and me and Alex are getting very excited to get back after it. Yeah, be persistent, don't give up. Turn the heater on, get out in the garage when you really don't want to because they're not gonna wait for you to get done.
Warm your hands up.
Yep.
Let me get in here.
It's really not that warm.
It's not that warm.
This is with 200 horsepower. The difference from the inline 6 to this is just crazy.
It sounds so good.
Does it?
Yes.
Dude, this thing is quick. Who tuned this carburetor, bro? That was me. Is it better than we expected?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we're gonna keep it until it's warm out so we can actually enjoy what's happening.
Maybe.
And break the